Dr. Victor Hale was a brilliant scientist, renowned for his groundbreaking work in the field of neurology. His experiments with consciousness and the human brain had brought him fame and fortune. But there was one pursuit that consumed his every waking moment: reuniting with his deceased wife, Amelia. Amelia had been the love of Victor's life. Her untimely death in a car accident had left him shattered. The grief he felt was insurmountable, driving him to the edge of sanity. But Victor, with his intellect and relentless determination, hatched a plan that would either reunite him with his beloved Amelia or lead him down a dark and perilous path. For months, he worked in secret, deep within the labyrinthine tunnels of his underground laboratory. He had reconstructed Amelia's likeness, down to the last detail, by studying photographs and meticulously crafting a lifelike silicone mask. The only missing piece was her consciousness, the essence of her being that had once sparkled with vivacity. One stormy night, as lightning streaked across the sky, Victor stood before the dormant body of the imprisoned woman who bore an uncanny resemblance to Amelia. She was restrained in a chair, wires and tubes connected to her head. Victor's heart raced with anticipation as he activated the machine he had built, a contraption of whirring gears, glowing tubes, and sparking electrodes. "Amelia," he whispered, his voice trembling with equal parts excitement and trepidation, "I will bring you back." As the machine hummed to life, the room seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Victor watched as the consciousness extraction process began, meticulously recording every detail. He had hoped for a seamless transfer, but the procedure was far from that. The woman's body writhed in agony, her screams echoing through the underground chamber. Victor's heart sank, and he feared that he had made a grave mistake. But he couldn't stop now. He had come too far. Hours turned into days as the experiment continued, and Victor's own sanity began to erode. He heard whispers in the shadows and fleeting glimpses of figures that weren't there. His obsession with bringing Amelia back consumed him. Finally, on the brink of exhaustion, the procedure reached its critical juncture. The consciousness of the imprisoned woman began to coalesce into a glowing, ethereal form. Victor watched in awe as it hovered above her lifeless body, shimmering like a ghostly specter. "Amelia," he breathed, tears welling up in his eyes. "I've done it." But as quickly as it had appeared, the ethereal form dissipated, leaving only an empty, lifeless shell behind. Victor's elation turned to despair. The experiment had failed. In his desperation, Victor sought answers in forbidden tomes of dark science. He delved deeper into the realms of the occult and the arcane, making pacts with entities he couldn't fully comprehend. His once rational mind was consumed by madness, and his appearance became increasingly disheveled and haggard. One fateful night, while conducting a ritual of unspeakable darkness, Victor felt a presence, a malevolent force that offered him a sinister bargain. In exchange for Amelia's return, he would be required to sacrifice the souls of innocent victims. Haunted by his despair and driven by an all-consuming desire to reunite with his wife, Victor reluctantly agreed to the malevolent entity's demands. He began a gruesome campaign of abducting unsuspecting travelers, luring them to his underground laboratory with promises of shelter from the storm. The once respected scientist had become a monster, his soul tainted by the darkness he had unleashed. He watched as the consciousness extraction process was repeated, this time with unwilling participants. The screams of his victims echoed in the underground chamber, mingling with Victor's maniacal laughter. As he conducted these nightmarish experiments, Victor believed that he was making progress. He saw glimpses of Amelia's consciousness, fragments of her memories, and fleeting moments of recognition. But the cost was immeasurable. The lives of innocent souls lost to the abyss. Months turned into years, and the townsfolk began to whisper of strange disappearances and eerie happenings in the vicinity of Victor's secluded laboratory. The underground chamber had become a chamber of horrors, a place of unspeakable cruelty and suffering. But Victor was blind to it all, his obsession blinding him to the consequences of his actions. He believed that he was on the cusp of success, that he could bring Amelia back to him once and for all. Then, one stormy night, as Victor prepared for another horrific experiment, the malevolent entity that had granted him his dark powers appeared before him. It was a grotesque and monstrous apparition, a swirling vortex of shadow and malice. "Victor Hale," the entity hissed, its voice a cacophony of whispers, "your time is at an end. You have become a pawn in a game far greater than you can comprehend. With a wave of its shadowy hand, the entity shattered the machinery in the laboratory, releasing the imprisoned souls and ending Victor's reign of terror. The underground chamber crumbled, burying the horrors of his experiments forever. In the end, Victor's obsession had cost him everything: the lives of innocent victims, his own sanity, and any chance of reuniting with his beloved Amelia. He had delved too deep into the abyss of darkness, and it had consumed him entirely. The townsfolk, unaware of the horrors that had transpired beneath their feet, could only wonder at the eerie and abandoned laboratory that lay hidden in the depths of the forest, a grim reminder of the tragic tale of Dr. Victor Hale, a once brilliant scientist who had succumbed to the insidious allure of forbidden knowledge and paid the ultimate price.